So it's finally the night of the fair, and it seemed like the whole county was amped up for it. Not only was it for the semi-safe fair rides, the best corn dogs, candy apples, and funnel cakes money could buy, it's amped up for the crash up derby. In a small town, nobody can keep a secret, and it was definitely no secret that Ricky Bobby Ray, Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby hated the Rayburn brothers, and vice versa. And everybody knew this crash up derby was going to be one for the ages. So, like I said before, Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby, they like to get their fair advantage. It wasn't like, the Derby or the fair had like a regulatory committee or anything. So they tuned the Chevette and the Oldsmobile as best they can. And, they do like a silent prayer over the Jeep because they knew it wasn't going to last. And they put all their hope in their Moby Dick, their great white whale. So they take the Cordova, weld the bumper onto it, and then also because they like to get their fair advantage, they weld as much lead as possible into it. So while everybody else was enjoying the rides and the funnel cakes, the Derby entrants were kind of lined up, getting next to the stockyard. As luck or fate, as you would have it, Ricky Ray Bobby, Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby's lot was straight across from where the Rayburn brothers was. And it was noticed by a lot of people at the fair. And you could cut the tension with the knife. So as the grease pig race began, it was like the clouds opened up and it just come a monsoon. Now my cousins or uncles, whatever you want to call them, they made me enter. But I knew I didn't have much of a chance because I still had a lot of chunk still on me, or the baby fat, as my grandma called it. And it just turned into fat as an adult. So I slipped and sliding and barely got out the starting line before Corey Jack Rayburn caught the pig. Now, in my defense and the rest of the kids, Corey Jack Rayburn, he hit puberty at like 5 and was already built like a full-grown man at like 10 or 11, however old I was. So the mud run was first. So Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby, they decided to play rock, paper, scissors to see who won. Bobby Ray Ricky was the one that they decided was going to drive the Jeep. Now, he did better than expected because he made it to the semifinal. But in the semifinals, he blew a rock. Of course, Larry Jack Rayburn ended up winning. And it ended up being with a similar death buggy design Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby come up with. And that pissed him off to no end. The events of the mud run was kind of expected. But the next one was the main draw, the heavy competition with the crash up derby. It was what they always tried to have it first because that was the major draw and before the little kids had to go to bed. So like I said, it had rained for close to a solid hour. But as soon as they flipped the lights on, for the derby, it's like the rain stopped. So the Rainbow Boys and Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby had been, giving each other that stare like all day, and just everybody knew it was about to be on. So Ricky Bobby Ray was chosen to drive the Great White Whale. And I told him good luck. And he said, I don't need luck tapping the hood. He said, with this thing, he said, I'm going to drive it right up there, another word for sphinxter. So if you've never had the enjoyment of seeing a crash up derby, when they bring them in and they line them up, they're lined up kind of like a clock. And as luck, fate, or the fair organizers had it, you had Larry Jack Rayburn was at 12, then Ricky Bobby Ray was at 6. So as they was ramping up the countdown, everybody started revving their engines. And they had straight piped the Cordova. So even above the rest of the cars, it sounded like Godzilla. Even though Larry Jack Rayburn, they had a big Lincoln, but it even looked small. Like, this looked like a dinosaur out there among the rest of it. So the announcer said go, and Ricky Bobby Ray made a beeline for Larry Jack Rayburn. Now, right before that, and if you remember, if you've watched my video, the first time I almost died, every time my mom would say something, especially if you was doing something wrong, it would come true. So right when she found out that they put lead in the bumper, she said cheaters never prosper. So the Cordova roared toward the Lincoln. It was across it was the first one out of the blocks. It was just barreling down on that Lincoln. The only problem is where it rained so much, and they put so much extra weight in the bumper that it brought the front end of the Cordova down. So when the Lincoln and Cordova went to hit, instead of hitting bumper to bumper, which would probably smash the Lincoln, the front end dipped down, and the Lincoln went right through the radiator of the Cordova. The impact still, knocked the hell out of the Lincoln. It actually went back, but the damage was done. The steam immediately started coming up. The hood was crumpled, and you can almost, like, that scene in Gladiator, when they knew blood was in the air, the whole crowd was going crazy, it was almost like, So before Ricky Bobby Ray could recover or put it in reverse or anything, the Lincoln, where it knocked it back, finished it off. Now I remember above the roar of the engines and of the crowd, I could still hear Ricky Bobby Ray cussing. And of course, to add insult to injury, Larry J. Craven won the heavy division. That crushing defeat seemed to take the wind out of Ricky Bobby Ray, Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby's sails. They was like hanging their head, it was just awful the way that they looked. So I knew Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby, were feeling dejected, that they put all this hard work and this training into the Derby, and, they got next to nothing out of it. So I come up to them and I was like, hey, it'll be all right, And Ricky Bobby Ray looks at me and said, hell yeah, it will. So we can go back to drinking regular beer instead of this piss water, eating moon pies, and said, I'm going to eat me 2 fried bologna sandwiches when I get home. See, here's the thing about not being really that smart. You never stay sad for very long. The only consolation to the night was Ray Ricky Bobby ended up winning the light division with the little Chevette that they didn't think was going to do anything. See, by the end of the night, the track looked like a battlefield. It looked like, those craters and, where they had to drag some of the cars out, big ruts. So when all the light ones went to go at each other, the only one that went was Ray Ricky Bobby because the Chevette had better tires than everybody else. Now, it's not like you probably think it is. It was like the slowest crash-up derby in the history of time. It looked like if turtles or snails had tried to have a crash-up derby. So the rest of them were just stuck, just spinning. And Ray Ricky Bobby just barely made it across. It took him minutes, it seemed like. And then he finally tapped one, and then the crowd went wild. And then that was the end of the derby. So I knew Ricky Bobby Ray Ricky, and Ray Ricky Bobby were feeling pretty down because, they'd put so much time and effort and training into this derby. So I went up to Ricky Bobby Ray and I said, don't worry. I said, this all going to get better. And Ricky Bobby Ray said, hell yeah, it is. So we can start drinking regular beer. So we can eat moon pies and we can eat fried bologna sandwiches again. See, here's the thing, people. When you're not that bright, you don't stay sad for very long.